Before we consider how to act or how to hold ourselves in a professional environment, it is essential to pause and understand what we are feeling. Attraction is a powerful force. It can be sudden or gradual, fleeting or persistent, and when it occurs in the workplace, it carries layers of complexity that go beyond personal desire. The first step in handling a crush on a coworker is not about controlling behavior or hiding feelings. It is about cultivating self-awareness. It is about observing the emotional currents that arise in your own mind and body and understanding them without judgment. To begin, recognize that not every spark of attraction requires action. Humans are wired to notice and respond to beauty, charm, intelligence, and shared humor. Feeling drawn to someone is natural, and in the structured, high-contact environment of the workplace, it is almost inevitable that bonds, or at least curiosities, will form. The key is distinguishing between a passing attraction that may fade as time passes and a deeper emotional response that could influence your thoughts, decisions, and interactions at work. Reflective observation allows you to categorize your feelings without letting them dictate behavior unconsciously. Understanding your emotions also means examining the source of your attraction. Are you drawn to certain traits, such as competence, confidence, humor, or empathy? Or is it the intimacy of shared experiences, the collaboration on projects, the casual conversations during breaks, the small gestures of attentiveness that is stirring your curiosity? Often, workplace attraction is intertwined with admiration and respect. Recognizing that what you feel may be admiration disguised as romantic attraction can provide clarity. It allows you to differentiate between professional appreciation and personal desire, helping you navigate your emotional response thoughtfully rather than impulsively. It is also critical to observe the intensity of your feelings. Do thoughts of your coworker occupy your mind frequently? Do you find yourself daydreaming about interactions, anticipating conversations, or reading into gestures and words in ways that interfere with focus? These are signs that the attraction has moved beyond superficial awareness into emotional engagement. At this stage, self-awareness is essential. Understanding how the attraction manifests in your behavior and attention allows you to implement conscious strategies to maintain professional balance. Awareness is not about suppression, it is about recognizing the impact of feelings on your mind and your work. Another layer of understanding involves reflection on context. Workplace environments are unique social ecosystems defined by roles, hierarchies, and shared expectations. Attraction here carries stakes beyond personal desire. It can affect team dynamics, professional credibility, and emotional well-being. Recognizing the context allows you to see your feelings not as isolated private events, but as experiences that interact with a wider system. Self-awareness includes acknowledging that actions or reactions rooted in attraction can ripple outward, influencing colleagues' perceptions and potentially altering professional relationships. Psychologically, this process also involves noticing physical and emotional responses without immediate reaction. Do you feel excitement or nervousness in their presence? Is your heart rate elevated, or do you notice subtle changes in posture or tone of voice when interacting? These embodied responses are part of human attraction. They are neither good nor bad in themselves, but observing them mindfully allows you to understand the depth of engagement without being swept away. Emotional intelligence, in this sense, is your ability to perceive, interpret, and integrate your internal experiences with the external environment thoughtfully. Part of understanding your feelings also requires honesty about boundaries and priorities. Ask yourself, what are the risks if these feelings are acted upon? How might they affect my career, my focus, or my relationships with other colleagues? Self-awareness does not prevent desire, but it creates a space to navigate it responsibly. It transforms reactive impulses into conscious decisions. The moment between feeling and action becomes a moment of choice, where reflection informs conduct. Developing this self-awareness also involves observing patterns over time. Attraction is rarely a single moment. It unfolds across interactions, conversations, and shared experiences. By tracking your emotional responses across different situations, meetings, casual encounters, collaborative projects, you gain insight into whether your feelings are situational, reactive, or persistent. This pattern recognition is crucial because it allows you to approach your crush with clarity. You begin to understand not only what you feel, but why you feel it and how it intersects with your professional life. Ultimately, recognizing and understanding your feelings is an act of self-respect as well as professional integrity. It allows you to engage with your emotions honestly, without acting impulsively or harming yourself or others. It transforms attraction from a potential source of distraction or risk into an opportunity for reflection, personal growth, and emotional insight. Awareness creates freedom, the freedom to choose your actions consciously, to maintain your focus, and to navigate the complexities of workplace relationships with wisdom and composure. So the first step in handling a crush on a coworker is to pause, observe, and reflect. Feel what you feel, understand why it arises, and consider the context in which it exists. Awareness does not eliminate desire, but it equips you to act thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Because attraction is a natural part of being human, but how you recognize, interpret, and respond to it determines whether it becomes a source of growth or a potential threat to the life and work you value. Once you have acknowledged and understood your feelings, the next step is to actively maintain professional boundaries. This is perhaps the most critical layer in navigating a workplace crush without jeopardizing your career, your reputation, or the sense of trust that your colleagues place in you. Boundaries are not about repression or denial. They are about creating a framework within which attraction can exist without interfering with professional obligations. They protect both your emotional well-being and the integrity of your workplace. Professional boundaries start with the way you interact day to day. Maintaining focus on work-related topics and responsibilities helps ensure that your attention remains aligned with your role rather than being diverted by personal desire. It is easy for a casual conversation to drift into flirtation or overly personal territory, particularly when shared humor, mutual respect, or admiration is present. Recognizing these moments as potential boundary crossings allows you to steer interactions back to neutral ground without creating tension. Boundaries are, in essence, the invisible infrastructure that keeps desire from disrupting workflow. Equally important is the control of physical and verbal cues. Small gestures, lingering touches, frequent compliments, subtle teasing can feel natural, but in a workplace context, they carry amplified significance. Even when intended innocently, these cues can be misinterpreted by your crush, by other colleagues, or by management. Being conscious of your own body language and tone of voice is a form of self-regulation that demonstrates respect for the professional environment and for the emotional dynamics at play. Boundaries require mindfulness not only of what you say, but how you say it and how your presence might be perceived. Communication is another cornerstone of maintaining boundaries. When feelings are present, it is vital to keep dialogue transparent with yourself and intentional in practice. Private messages, inside jokes, or conversations that blur professional and personal lines can quickly create confusion or gossip. Limiting communication to necessary professional exchanges during work hours ensures that your interactions remain within appropriate parameters. If emotional support or personal conversation is needed, finding outlets outside the workplace, trusted friends, mentors, or private journals, can prevent workplace relationships from becoming entangled with personal impulses in ways that compromise both intimacy and professionalism. Boundaries also extend to social dynamics within the team. Workplace attraction does not exist in a vacuum. Colleagues are aware, consciously or unconsciously, of interpersonal dynamics. Perceptions of favoritism, alignment, or bias can develop even without any overt action. Maintaining professional boundaries protects not only the individuals involved, but also the wider team. It helps ensure that collaborative decisions remain objective, that trust among colleagues remains intact, and that social cohesion is preserved. Boundaries are both personal and relational. They safeguard emotional integrity while respecting the collective professional ecosystem. There is also a temporal dimension to boundaries. The workplace has rhythms, schedules, and expectations, and interactions must respect these structures. Avoiding excessive personal conversations during meetings, minimizing private interactions that might be misinterpreted, and reserving emotional or intimate engagement for non-work contexts are all part of conscious boundary management. Time, in this sense, becomes both a buffer and a lens. It allows you to honor your feelings while containing them within a space and schedule that does not compromise professional focus. Ethically, boundaries serve a dual purpose. They preserve fairness and equity, preventing situations where attraction influences decisions, evaluations, or collaborative assignments. They also preserve autonomy, ensuring that both individuals retain freedom of choice without coercion or subtle pressure. This is particularly important when hierarchy or power differentials exist. Boundaries are the ethical scaffolding that allows attraction to exist without compromising consent or agency. Psychologically, boundaries are empowering. They transform attraction from a potentially destabilizing force into a manageable, integrated part of your work life. When you maintain clear limits, you exercise self-control and self-respect, demonstrating that desire does not dictate action. Boundaries enable you to engage in reflection rather than reaction, turning curiosity and emotion into insight rather than risk. They allow you to observe the feelings, understand them, and decide how or whether to act upon them in ways that honor both your personal and professional life. Ultimately, boundaries are not walls, they are channels. They guide energy, attention, and interaction in ways that allow relationships, whether romantic or purely collegial, to exist without harm. They are the structure that makes emotional awareness actionable. Without boundaries, feelings can spill over, influence judgment, or create unintended consequences. With boundaries, attraction can coexist with responsibility, curiosity can coexist with respect, and connection can coexist with professionalism. So, maintaining professional boundaries is not a denial of human emotion. It is an embrace of responsible, ethical, and intentional engagement. It allows you to acknowledge attraction, understand your feelings, and preserve the integrity of both your work and your relationships. Because desire, when tempered with respect and structure, does not have to be destructive. It can be observed, honored, and managed in a way that protects both your career and your capacity for thoughtful, authentic connection. Once professional boundaries are in place, the next critical aspect of handling a crush on a coworker is managing communication and visibility. This is where awareness of perception meets the reality of social interaction. In the workplace, nothing exists in a vacuum. Every glance, every word, every subtle shift in tone carries meaning, not only to the person you feel drawn to, but also to colleagues, supervisors, and the larger professional ecosystem. How we navigate what is seen, heard, and inferred determines whether attraction becomes a manageable emotional experience or a disruptive force. Communication in this context is both verbal and nonverbal. The words we choose, the way we structure our sentences, and the manner in which we engage in conversation all contribute to the signals we send. Lingering personal questions, private jokes, or comments that can be construed as flirtatious may feel harmless in the moment, but they can be misinterpreted or magnified by the very audience that the workplace naturally provides. Similarly, body language, subtle leaning, prolonged eye contact, or small gestures of attentiveness carries layers of meaning. Managing visibility requires conscious attention to these nonverbal cues, calibrating your presence to maintain professionalism while acknowledging your feelings internally. Digital communication adds another layer of complexity. Emails, chat messages, and instant messaging blur boundaries in ways that face-to-face interactions do not. A friendly message can easily be perceived as intimate, a delayed reply can provoke anxiety, and shared memes or private discussions can unintentionally signal favoritism. Awareness of how your written words and digital presence are interpreted is essential. Limiting personal or emotional interactions to offline contexts or outside work hours can help prevent miscommunication, gossip, or misperception. It is not about suppressing emotion, but about placing it in an appropriate context. Visibility also involves managing the social dynamics of colleagues. Humans are highly attuned to patterns of interaction. When two people consistently engage in ways that seem more personal than professional, observers naturally take note. This is not malicious, it is simply human nature. Teams are socially intelligent systems. They interpret interactions, form narratives, and assign meaning to behaviors. By maintaining discretion, keeping interactions professional, and being mindful of social perception, you reduce the likelihood that curiosity or attraction becomes a subject of office gossip or perceived bias. At the same time, managing visibility requires authenticity. It is not about pretending that feelings do not exist or overcompensating to erase natural warmth and respect. Instead, it is about balancing transparency with discretion. You can be friendly, supportive, and collegial without crossing lines that invite speculation or disrupt workflow. The key lies in intentionality. Every word, gesture, and interaction is considered not only for its personal meaning, but also for its broader impact within the workplace. An important aspect of this balance is distinguishing between public and private spaces. Meetings, shared work areas, and team discussions are public spaces where professional demeanor must be paramount. Personal or emotionally charged conversations, if necessary, should be reserved for private or off-site contexts. Similarly, casual social gatherings outside work can be opportunities to engage personally, but even there, awareness of professional boundaries and perception remains important. The principle is consistent. Context matters. Visibility is not inherently negative, but it becomes risky when personal emotions spill over into spaces where professional integrity must be maintained. Mindfulness is a powerful tool in this process. Being aware of your internal state, your excitement, nervousness, or longing allows you to modulate how it is expressed externally. Emotional self-regulation helps prevent impulsive behavior that could be misread, while also allowing you to remain present and focused in professional interactions. By observing your feelings without immediate reaction, you create a buffer between internal desire and external behavior, ensuring that your conduct aligns with both your personal values and professional responsibilities. Managing communication and visibility also involves anticipating consequences. Consider how certain actions might be interpreted by colleagues or superiors. Could a compliment appear biased? Could private interactions be misunderstood? Could a joke or playful comment create discomfort or speculation? Reflection and foresight allow you to navigate the workspace with intentionality, rather than being at the mercy of unconscious impulses or social interpretation. This foresight is a form of ethical mindfulness. It respects the emotional integrity of both the individuals involved and the broader professional community. Ultimately, the ability to manage communication and visibility transforms attraction from a potential threat into a disciplined, conscious experience. It allows desire to exist without undermining professionalism, curiosity to flourish without creating disruption, and attention to deepen without overstepping boundaries. By consciously observing interactions, calibrating verbal and nonverbal cues, and managing perception, you maintain agency over both your feelings and your professional life. So, when you feel drawn to a coworker, remember that attraction is not inherently dangerous, but how it is communicated and perceived matters profoundly. Mindful management of words, gestures, and visibility allows you to honor your feelings without compromising your work, your credibility, or the trust of colleagues. Because in the delicate interplay between desire and professionalism, the power lies not in hiding what you feel, but in navigating it with awareness, care, and intentionality, ensuring that both your heart and your career remain intact. Finally, once you have observed your feelings and established boundaries while managing communication and visibility, the final and perhaps most nuanced step is to strategize your emotional and social responses. This stage is about cultivating self-mastery, understanding how to live with your attraction in the present moment, navigating the uncertainty of reciprocity, and preserving both your emotional well-being and professional stability. It is a delicate art, one that requires insight, patience, and a willingness to tolerate ambiguity without acting impulsively. A central component of this strategy is emotional regulation. Attraction, especially in close proximity, can trigger powerful physiological and psychological responses. A racing heart, heightened awareness, daydreaming, or even subtle changes in behavior. Left unchecked, these responses can manifest in ways that are noticeable to others, potentially altering perceptions or disrupting work. Developing conscious strategies to manage these responses, Breathing techniques, mental reframing, or redirecting focus onto tasks allows you to experience desire without being controlled by it. Emotional regulation is not about denial, it is about acknowledging the feeling and containing it in a way that preserves agency. Equally important is cultivating patience. Workplace attraction often unfolds slowly, and immediate action is rarely necessary or advisable. The environment itself imposes constraints. Proximity, professional roles, and social dynamics require reflection and timing. Patience allows you to observe patterns in your feelings and in your co-workers' behavior, to assess whether interest is mutual, and to consider potential consequences before making any decisions. Acting hastily in the face of strong attraction risks misunderstanding, gossip, or professional complications that could have been avoided through careful reflection. Part of this strategy also involves creating outlets for emotional processing outside of the workplace. Confiding in trusted friends, journaling, or engaging in activities that channel energy constructively allows you to experience your attraction without entangling it in professional interactions. By externalizing the emotional energy, you reduce the likelihood of impulsive behavior and gain clarity. This approach is not about secrecy or repression. It is about creating a safe space to feel freely while maintaining professionalism. Strategizing responses also includes anticipating potential scenarios. What will you do if the attraction is reciprocated? How will you navigate changes in dynamic if it is not? What are the steps to maintain respect and composure in case feelings intensify or fade? Planning for these contingencies allows you to respond rather than react, transforming uncertainty from a source of stress into a field of conscious choice. Awareness of possible outcomes gives you leverage over the narrative, empowering you to act in ways aligned with both personal integrity and professional responsibility. Another aspect of strategy is mindful interaction. This involves being deliberate about how you engage with the coworker you are drawn to. Every conversation, gesture, and expression is a choice, and being intentional about these choices reduces the risk of misinterpretation. Mindful interaction allows you to remain authentic and approachable while maintaining boundaries and respecting both parties' privacy. It is a practice of integrating emotional honesty with social intelligence, ensuring that feelings do not unintentionally disrupt the professional environment. Equally critical is self-reflection, regularly checking in with yourself. How are your feelings affecting your focus, your energy, your attitude toward work? Are you projecting expectations onto the other person? Are you maintaining ethical and professional conduct? This ongoing reflection ensures that your internal experience is in harmony with external behavior, creating coherence between desire and responsibility. Self-reflection is both a preventative and a generative practice. It prevents missteps while cultivating insight into the nature of attraction, emotional resilience, and interpersonal dynamics. Strategizing also involves embracing uncertainty. Attraction is inherently ambiguous, and the workplace amplifies this ambiguity because interactions are often structured, limited, or mediated by professional obligations. Accepting that not everything can be controlled allows you to engage with your emotions without panic or overreaction. Uncertainty can be fertile ground for insight, prompting you to learn about your desires, limits, and emotional patterns in a context that is both safe and structured. Ultimately, strategizing emotional and social responses transforms attraction from a potentially destabilizing force into a deliberate, conscious experience. It allows you to navigate desire thoughtfully, preserving your professional reputation, maintaining personal integrity, and even enhancing your emotional intelligence. By creating strategies for focus, patience, communication, and reflection, you turn what could be a source of distraction into an opportunity for personal growth, self-awareness, and ethical engagement. So, as you feel the pull toward a coworker, remember that attraction is not a problem. It is an experience that can be managed with insight and care. By strategizing your emotional and social responses, you allow yourself to honor your feelings while protecting your career, your credibility, and your emotional well-being. Because desire is neither inherently destructive nor inherently safe. Its impact depends on how consciously, thoughtfully, and ethically we choose to navigate it, transforming attraction into an opportunity for awareness, maturity, and mindful connection.